All right, let's dive right into this. Today, we're digging into a case study from the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company's Scranton branch. And trust me, this isn't just any old business case. It's a sharp, hilarious, and frankly, a kind of terrifying look at how one tiny little problem can spiral into absolute corporate chaos.
The source material really doesn't pull any punches, does it? It calls the whole incident a masterclass in organizational dysfunction. And that's what makes this so fascinating. I mean, this isn't just about a company. It's about human nature, it's about ego, and it's about the spectacular ways things can go wrong when nobody is focused on the actual problem.
So that really brings us to the big question for this whole explainer. How on earth does a simple, everyday supply delay escalate into a full-blown corporate crisis? Well, the answer lies in a perfect storm of bizarre management, competing egos, and just a complete loss of common sense.
To really understand the madness, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, back to the small, almost insignificant spark that lit the fuse on this entire fiasco.
The root cause was completely unremarkable. It was a routine 3-day paper supply delay. That's it. Seriously. This is the kind of problem that almost any functioning business could solve with a single phone call. It's a logistical hiccup, not a catastrophe. But, the stakes were real. The branch had critical Friday deadlines they had to meet, and 3 major customer relationships were hanging in the balance. So there was a genuine sense of urgency here, which should have just driven a simple, practical solution. But this is Dunder Mifflin Scranton we're talking about. Now, to really get how things went so wrong, you have to understand the very special, let's call it unique, corporate culture that was at play here. This was not just any office. And here's the twist. Despite all the chaos, the Scranton branch was actually successful. They were pulling in $2.8 million in annual revenue. They somehow succeeded in spite of themselves, really, through this bizarre mix of aggressive sales tactics and just sheer force of personality. This success is what makes their internal dysfunction so darn compelling.
The case study just perfectly captures the management style with this gem. It notes, the branch operates under Michael Scott's leadership, and here we use the term leadership in its most abstract sense. I mean, that one line tells you everything you need to know about the person at the helm.
So let's get to the heart of the crisis and see how this unique leadership team responded. Instead of a solution, the problem gave birth to 4 competing manifestos, turning a simple issue into a battle of philosophies.
And you can just see the path to crisis laid out so clearly. It starts with a routine delay, but instead of a solution, it kicks off a debate over philosophy. From there, 4 competing plans emerge, and suddenly, boom, a corporate emergency is declared. The problem was never solved, it was just inflated. And the proposals themselves? They were just absurd. They ranged from a theatrical cross-state shopping spree, which would have been financially ruinous, to an academic lecture on supply chain ethics that was completely detached from reality. Then you had the analytical approach, with spreadsheets so complicated they'd make NASA jealous. And the one simple, pragmatic solution, hey, let's just call the backup supplier, that was completely ignored in all the chaos.
So here's the crucial point in all this. The crisis was never actually about a shortage of paper. The paper was just the symptom of a much, much deeper problem within the organization.
And that's the heart of it right there. The real problem for corporate leadership wasn't managing inventory. It was preventing their own middle managers from turning a simple, solvable problem into a legendary cautionary tale about incompetence.
This comparison just makes the disconnect crystal clear. The branch leadership, they were focused on what they thought was the problem, an inventory crisis. But the actual problem was managing the very people who were manufacturing that crisis out of thin air.
So, what can we actually learn from this spectacular breakdown? Let's try to distill this whole cautionary tale into some clear, actionable lessons that apply to any organization, not just a paper company in Scranton. First, you see the incredibly high cost of poor management. You see the danger of choosing performative creativity over just simple practicality. It highlights that classic clash between what customers actually need and what employees' egos want. It proves why you have to contain small issues immediately. And finally, it makes a powerful case for what the source calls adult supervision in decision-making.
And all of that leaves us with one final crucial question for you to think about. In your organization, who is the person or what is the process that stops a simple problem from turning into a 4-part manifesto? It's a question every healthy company really needs to be able to answer.